If there's one character, and I guess by extension, one little detail in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country, that kind of bothers me, or rather makes me question a couple of canon things, that would have to be Minoth, and specifically the scar that's over his eye. That I'll show a picture of him on screen just so you know what I'm talking about. In universe, this shouldn't be happening, and it's actually touched on in the main game of, why it shouldn't be the case. He shouldn't have a scar there unless some kind of weird awakening thing happened, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And there were a few questions that came to my mind when I was thinking about this, and the first of which is, how exactly did that happen? The only logical thing that I can think of right off the bat is that Minoth was injured in battle, and he got a pretty nasty hit near the eye or the face or wherever it was, and that resulted in a pretty bad injury which caused him to, have that scar now. Which sounds kind of plausible, but at the same time, if you think about it, Pandoria, who gave up part of her core crystal to Zeke, spoilers by the way, she didn't have any injuries from that except for the missing piece of her crystal. Same with Haze, same with Mithra, and Pyra by extension. And if you think about it, during the fight with Akos and Malos in Elethro Ruins in the Playhouse, Dromark was hit by Akos with no effect or damage or anything. Because in universe, blades are supposed to be able to heal any injury given to them, with the few exceptions being, Pyra and Mithra, who shared their life force with Rex, and that's why they have the same injuries pointed out by Vandham in Chapter 4. I guess another possibility that we can think about is that maybe it happened during his transition from Blade to Flesh Eater, because if you know the story of, Minoth, and by extension Cole from the main game, he is Amalthus's blade, awakened before Malos, by the way, who was transformed into a Flesh Eater, the way that a blade can continue living on without the need for a driver. That's what Minoth is. So I guess that maybe after he was transformed into a Flesh Eater, something happened which we can link back to maybe he received a wound while he was in his Flesh Eater form. That would make sense, because then he would, be injured, and because he's no longer an actual blade, he would be receiving actual injuries like a normal person, just with enhanced abilities. We can further this proof because Jin, who is a Flesh Eater in the main game, receives a couple of injuries from Pyra, Mithra, the whole gang basically. And way down in the cliffs of Mortha, and the land of Mortha, he receives injuries straight to his core crystal, and he doesn't heal that. So that's also a possibility of what happened to Minoth. And like I said earlier, the only seen exceptions to this whole blades cannot heal themselves is only seen with Pyra and Rex, and Mithra and Rex, due to that shared life force that happened way early in the game. Because of that whole having to...
I will give you half of my life force. That way, you can be revived. As my driver. As the driver of the Aegis.
Replace the heart with the core crystal, and I'll just play the clip on screen or something. Either that, or if they're, like I said, Flesh Eaters or Blade Eaters. Blade Eaters being someone who is just a normal person, core crystal injected in them. Perfect example is Mikhail. And other notable Flesh Eaters would be Petroka, Akos, basically the whole Torna team, with the exception of Malos. But that still doesn't seem entirely likely, and just in case it's not, my final theory, my final little discussion point is that maybe, just maybe, Minoth awakened from his core crystal with that scar. I don't know how that would happen. Maybe it happened in a previous life of his, because while blades don't retain their memories, they retain their physical status, I think. I don't know. That's just a little bit of a theory, a game theory that I had. But yeah, that's basically all I've got for today. That's just something that came across my mind when I was playing through Torna again, and it didn't make any sense, so I wanted to talk about it. Anyway, that's about all I have for today, just a little bit of a rant and slight theory about why Minoth is the way that he is. And if you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing, commenting, liking, and all that good stuff. And if you enjoy more of this Xenoblade content, then please let me know, because I plan on going back to my roots of covering a lot more Xenoblade stuff in the future. Anyway, with this long outro done, I hope to see you all in the next video, and thanks for watching.